How you doing? This is Hybridsteel of the Rusty Nuts Garage. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. So, like I've said before in a previous video, I did a video where I asked you what cars you wanted. This is a person who replied to that thing. This is Ron Weiscope's Nissan 350z. Isn't it pretty? Isn't it beautiful? Let's chuck it inside and let's get us going. So, what we're going to do is we're going to do what we do always. We're going to take this car, we're going to strip it apart, and we're going to make it look really pretty. Hopefully. I mean, you know, we've got a budget. This one's 100k. This cost us like a couple of thousand from the auction. Genuinely, we're not going to spend 100,000 on this car. This is going to be a $40,000-$50,000 car, about that. I'm not even. I'm even saying that 40,000 may even just be too much, but we shall see. So, join me in this journey of getting this car up to scratch. But I mean, by the looks of it, we are just literally going to have to break everything because this car is ruined. I'm pretty sure it didn't cost me. It didn't cost me very much. Okay, it did cost me 14 grand. It cost me 14 grand to buy a scrap heap. And I've got this feeling that it's all going to go in the bin and I'm going to have to buy everything brand new. But there we go. We shall see. Okay, so that's everything underneath this car completely done. Like I said, this is a proper rust bucket of a car. I haven't worked on something this bad for a little while. You know when we did those old Rust to Riches program stuff and there was bits just... Yeah, the amount of rust that we had to clear out of here just filled up so many hoovers. So, we're sort of on that again. It seems to be a running thing on this. The cars we've got, some of them are alright, some of them are just horrific beyond belief. So yeah, right, okay, so we've unbolted most of the engine. We've unbolted a lot of the extra bits that come in, you know, water bottles and all that sort of stuff. Now we've actually got to just unbolt the rest of the engine. So I'm going to call the guys in. We're going to get that taken off as well. We've got to take the body off. Got to send this over to Danny and Steve. They're going to, obviously, they're going to sort this out as well. But it's looking desperate, I think, the idea for this engine. It looks like I'm going to have to rebuild it completely, which means stripping it all down, making sure everything works, and then put it all back together. Just hopefully that works. This is just the start though. It always looks like this. It always looks like I'm facing doom in the face and be like, oh god, no, not you again. But by the end of it, usually these projects come out just amazing a lot of the time. So yeah, we're going to work the engine out, chuck it up on the crane, and then we're going to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, make sure everything works. Alright, cool. Awesome. The one thing about the 350z is I've been a fan of the 350z for a little while. I actually enjoy the 350z. It's an awesome looking drift car as well, rear wheel drive, and it just works wonders. But I'm going to be honest, I've always liked with this car it was always grey. Like grey with a black decal or something else down the side of it, just to give it a bit more character. Now I don't know if Ron actually wants all of that stuff, but I think grey would be pretty cool. Maybe chrome it or put a chameleon paint so it sort of just changes colour a little bit, just so it's just a little bit more like variety when you sit in the sun and it sort of glitters off. I've got that as an imagination on this, so I'm thinking maybe an actual black set of rims. So we'll measure up the size of the one that we took off of it, but obviously we're going to have to buy some new. I'm thinking black rims, silver paintwork or grey paintwork with a little bit of colour, just to give it a subtle touch, just to go, yeah, that's the one. So I'm going to send this over to Danny and Steve now. They can fix this up and they can figure it out from there. But yeah, that's what I'm envisioning with this build. Right. Okay, so we've spent a couple of days fixing up the bits and pieces we took off the car. Because of the condition of the car, it took a little bit longer. That was the problem that we did have. Thankfully, it was me and Steve, we were actually doing that as well. Because Danny was doing the interior, he was pulling out all that stuff, Steve couldn't do anything on the car, so Steve came over here and gave me a hand, which is good. Okay, so it's going to be me pulling apart the engine. I have a newbie. Basically, he's a trainee kid from the local town. We're going to be taking this apart and show him how to do it in bits and pieces. So yeah, I'm going to take a little bit more time on this, show him how to do it, and then he can go back to school and be all good. So yeah, see, we do end-term programs around here as well. It's all good. But anyways, let's get through the engine, and then hopefully in a couple of days' time we'll see the car. But we're biding our time, don't worry. Okay, so we stripped the engine. All good. It took a little while, in fairness. Lots of, yeah, swearing. Lots of swearing. But anyways, so I'm going to repair up bits and pieces of the engine now. This basically means that we're going to try and renovate the engine instead of doing like a mass rebuild with brand new parts. Now, I don't really want to put any like big, massive pieces into this. I don't want to put any tuning parts in. I feel that the 350z has got a decent amount of power in itself, and I think Ron would just want like a nice standard driving car instead of something that might rip him apart and put him around a tree. So I'm more than happy not to do that for him. Thankfully, I'm good at doing restoring as well. The whole garage is good at doing restoring. We know what we're doing. This car is going to be mint. So Ron popped by the other day. I wanted to show him the chassis at least, because the chassis is finished. If you guys don't believe me, here is the chassis to that Nissan. How good does this look? Now, I like this look. I like the grey. I think it needs just to be a touch like darker, almost like where this wheel, as you can see the wheel arch here. I actually like that sort of darkness, but it needs to be faded into another colour, and I don't know what colour yet. So it's going to be gunmetal grey, but I want it to have a little bit of like a coat of some other colour, and I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to burn me a little bit on the inside, but we'll figure it out as we go. Anyways, so the best thing that happened is that everything's turned up. Deliveries came through amazingly. It's been like almost like Amazon Prime, but I don't have Amazon Prime. Everything's just turned up. So I'm going to put the tyres together. I'm going to fit the suspension. I'm going to try and put the engine back together. That's going to be a good couple of days, and then we can start putting things back together properly and get this car absolutely pristine. Well, there we go. Looking clean and looking tidy. Brand new engine. This thing, well, I say brand new. We restored as much as we could. There were a few bits that we needed to replace. Belts mainly because they were basically dead. This is the joys of picking up cars from auctions. So when you go to a car auction in this, you know, you're going to buy some random POS. And at the end of the day, you have to put the extra work in just to make things work. And this came out quite nice, but I have had worse in the past. Like ones where the engine just basically disintegrates in your hands. You're like, what was this bit again? Now it's just, and it all disappears. But yeah, so that's all done. That's all good. We've repaired that. We've repaired this. We've got a brand new bodywork turning up in the next day or two as well, which is nice. And now we can start working actually putting the car together, which is awesome. And I'm looking forward to this one. If I haven't said that, you know. Catch you later, buddy. I was a good man. He dropped me off. So I could have just driven here, but I gotta be honest, I'm sort of... It's nice talking to people in the morning, especially when they're off to work, and that's where I'm heading as well. So it's alright, let's go. And by the way, no smoking. No smoking! Right. Let's get this going. Right, so everything turned up. We're all good there. Fantastic. Ooh, Larry. So the next thing we gotta do, put it all back together. Okay, so wheels, everything underneath is done. Exhaust has been put on as well, which is good. Can't wait until I hear this actually boot up. Well, I say boot up, joys of getting into computers. Yep, I can't wait for it to boot up and fire up, go rev, brum, brum, brum. But yeah, now we've got to put the engine in. They always say putting the wheels and windows on cars always makes things look like an actual car. And for me, it's if you just put the engine in, then it's an actual car. But there you go, each to their own. Okay, so it took a little bit of shuffling, but we got it in. It was all good. So next, all we need to do is we need to put all the little components and bits in. So yeah, this shouldn't be too bad. I mean, there's just all the bits that you need to actually make the car work. You know, modern day, you know, bits and pieces instead of just an engine and then nothing else, and then all of a sudden you can't steer because you haven't got power steering anymore, or what? Just the joys of like modern day cars. I like modern day cars; they're good, but I like old school cars because they look nicer. I'm very torn in the ways I like cars. That's looking pretty sweet. I like the kit on this. This is the 350z B kit, so it looks a bit more streety, a little bit more aggressive. You know, the lines in the hood look amazing, and yeah, this front end pretty damn cool. Like I said, gunmetal grey with a tiny bit of colour. I'm thinking with a little bit of purple, I don't know if like Ron really likes purple, but you know, we'll do it. Worst comes to worst, he says he doesn't like it, and then all of a sudden the car comes back and he wants it green or something. We'll see how things go, but it's only going to be a little bit, just to give it that little, I don't know, just a little oomph in the side of the paint. Well, first off, we've got to send this over to the test track, get the wheels aligned, and get the headlights in as well. Well, you know, lined up is what I mean. Okay, so there it is, the Nissan 350z, and yep, okay. So like I said, it is grey predominantly, but if you get it right up close, you can see that there's a tiny touch of purple, just so it doesn't look very grey, but at the same time it's not the full colour. It's just so it stands out a bit more instead of just blends in with every other grey colour of car on the road. So, if you guys have enjoyed this video, or anything that I've done on this channel, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe and notifications button below for all other updates. And yeah, you never know, at some other point I might be asking for more cars, and we can chuck them all through. You guys get your cars. That's all good. So until my next one, I want to say peace out, have fun, enjoy everything you guys do. Bye bye for now.